In Fyodor Dostoyevsky's The Idiot, ideas are powerfully possessive phenomena. This is to say, there are characters who act out beliefs that are not wholly their own, and who behave in such a way as to accord with the concepts and idealisms crucial to those ideas. Essentially, these characters become the walking embodiment of an idea, and in turn become pathologized by their convictions. In one such character, a teenager named Hippolyte is on the cusp of adulthood, suffers from tuberculosis, and has been given a terminal prognosis. We learn from Hippolyte's essential statement, a document which he has written and which he recites to an audience of partygoers before he attempts to commit suicide in front of them, that in many ways he resents others who have so much life ahead of them yet are forever whimpering and complaining, despite having everything within their power to attain mountains of gold. However, in this final statement of his, we also learn of his contradictory acceptance of nihilism, whereby he throws down books because why learn something for 6 months? Essentially, Hippolyte is a character on many different precipices. He is almost an adult, but not quite. He is about to die, but not dead yet. He is a person who wants life to be redeemable, but is also nihilistic and resentful because of his condemning illness. In his essential statement, he elaborates upon a dream where a revolting creature scurries around his room. The creature is supernatural and unlike anything in nature, and has been sent expressly to him. In this essay, I will explore Hippolyte's dream about this reptile in order to show how Hippolyte's psyche has been possessed by the idea of nihilism. However, the inspection herein might also lend insight into how the human spirit resists and fights against potentially pathologic ideas. Hippolyte describes his dream as being in a room which is not his own, that has higher ceilings and a large bed. The room has better lighting, is furnished nicely, and, by his account, sounds like it should be a comfortable place. The character and quality of this room is important because it is his conscious and unconscious representation of a place which could be his room, but is, in fact, not his room. Considering that Hippolyte has been confined to his room as an invalid for many months, it is also important to note here that his room is, at least in this later stage of his life, where he gets his thinking done. Therefore, the room in his dream may represent Hippolyte's conscious desire for a life which has better lighting and better furnishing, but it more importantly serves to reveal the modus through which Hippolyte's subconscious mind perceives and understands the world around him. This is to say that Hippolyte's unconscious mind understands that the ways in which he perceives the world are something similar to his own thoughts, but are actually not his own thoughts. However, the room is not solely a representation of Hippolyte's envy or disappointment for his own lack of originality. Rather, it is at the same time the place where a dreadful animal lurks. Again, we see that this animal was sent to him by someone else and is not associated with his own creations. The creature is like a monster in the shape of a scorpion, but it is not a scorpion. It is brown, its body has a shell around it, and it has 2 legs which writhe grotesquely as it moves. It also has a stinger as a scorpion would, and attached to each limb, its tail and its head, are 2 antennae, with 8 antennae total. Hippolyte had been told it was venomous, and he fears it will sting him, so he sits on a chair with his legs to his chest. The creature wiggles and writhes around the room, darting from under the wardrobe to the desk. Eventually, it climbs up the wall behind Hippolyte and finagles its tail between the hair on the back of his head, causing him to jump. Here we can see that while the room represents Hippolyte's awareness of his own lack of originality, it is likewise the host of an unnatural abomination that is not his own. In this way, we can see Hippolyte's psyche acknowledging his shortcomings, while also potentially showing the danger of ideas perpetuated by other people. The creature represents how ideas like nihilism can possess people and become pathological. As stated, the creature was sent to him and is something wholly unnatural. Furthermore, there is some sort of dangerous mystery to the creature. Not only is it apparently venomous, but when looking at the creature from above, it is in the shape of a trident, and despite its shell, its limbs and body flutter with the rapidity of wriggling snakes. Due to its speed while moving, there is something unclear and amorphous about this creature. It cannot well be understood. It resists clarity. Furthermore, its unsettling appearance instills dread in Hippolyte and moves him towards inaction. Instead of confronting the creature himself, he simply tucks his legs to his chest and jumps at any contact with the creature. This is because the creature is a poison container, which prevents Hippolyte's psyche from being able to amass whatever gold might be within his remaining power. Similarly, in the waking world, Hippolyte teeters between action and inaction, as he does help a medical doctor who has suffered a string of bad luck recover his social standing. He, at the same time, throws down books. This sense of futility in doing anything for 6 months consumes him and leads him to a path towards a failed suicide. In these ways, the creature is a symbolic representation of Hippolyte's subconscious mind, giving shape to the rising intellectual mores of his time. Nihilism is an idea that looms over the Russian citizens inside Dostoyevsky's The Idiot, and for this unfortunate tuberculosistic youth, it is, perhaps even understandably, a possessive tenet in Hippolyte's internal place of being. However, these futile, inspiring ideas that possess Hippolyte are not exactly unchallenged. Despite the otherworldliness of the creature, when Hippolyte's mother enters the room, she is almost completely unaffected by the creature. She chases after it without any grimace. Hippolyte says his mother understands nothing about the creature, so she's not affected by its mysterious malevolence. Yet, despite not knowing anything, it is his mother who calls Norma, a big black Newfoundland dog who had apparently died 5 years ago. Norma enters the room and immediately recognizes the supernatural evil of the writhing little beast. The creature, too, is apparently afraid of Norma, though it continues to scrape the floor with its legs and tail as it encroaches slowly towards the dog. Norma, whom Hippolyte describes as having an extraordinary fear of the creature, nonetheless braces to strike and, after a small delay, pounces, throwing the little devil into the air and cracking its shell between her teeth. Yet, while attempting to destroy the thing, Norma lets out a piteous yelp, lowering her jaw, where the two halves of the creature still shake sporadically. It has stung her. Dripping from Norma's tongue is some sort of white liquid, similar to that of a squashed beetle. Here we can see Hippolyte's psyche fighting back and resisting the full totality of a philosophy which espouses nothingness. Although Hippolyte consciously claims his mother in his dream understands nothing, it is actually the opposite within his subconscious mind's symbolic understanding of being. It is actually Hippolyte who understands nothing about life. Rather, it is Hippolyte who knows nothing about giving and preserving life. The mother in his dream is not possessed by nihilism and, in fact, is not even concerned with this trident-shaped, writhing, snake-filled scorpion. She has a son to take care of. She has a room to maintain for her sick child. To this symbolically represented mother, there is no such thing as futility. There is only potential. Furthermore, Norma is a symbolic guardian of Hippolyte's desire to act and be courageous in spite of the unnatural and potentially fatalistic risks of life. In these ways, we see how, despite their possessive powers, the human spirit is capable of resisting ideas that are full of caustic force. Hippolyte Terentiev is in a terribly unfortunate situation in life. He is young, dying, and understandably flirtatious with nihilism. Furthermore, he is someone who deeply desires to be creative and original. All at the same time, he desires life most ultimately to be redeemable. However, due to the conditions of his lot, he feels hard-pressed and neglected by some great wheel of chance. This wretched luck of his haunts him and gives him food to corrosive thought structures in his mind. He is not only battling physically against a disease which is terminal, he is fighting against the very substrate of ideas, of basic perceptions for what it means to be, of thought structures which give to and mold the human experience. Hippolyte is possessed by nihilism, by nothingness, by a poison container composed of snakes and wrapped in scorpion skin. Dostoyevsky has perhaps rendered such a sickly character in his novel in order to make a good faith examination of the then emerging dangers he perceived in the loss of traditional value structures in Russia. Yet, even in Hippolyte's poor state, the corners of his consciousness recognize and reveal an antidote: the archetypical mother and the guardian. The mother represents the true aspiration of creativity. That is, the mother literally creates life. She preserves life, perhaps even naively, in spite of its writhing tridents. But she can also summon the guardian. This guardian more practically recognizes the dangers of human life, but nonetheless responds towards its beasts and burdens. For the guardians within us are themselves beasts.